Good morning, girls. Welcome back to the session of Oracle. One more time. Okay. Now today's topic is triggers. Triggers are stored programs which are automatically executed or fired. Focus on this term. Automatically. Triggers are automatically executed or fired when some events occur. Here events occur means we are talking about the queries that we fire from the SQL window in Oracle database, right? So triggers are in fact returned to be executed in response to any of the following events. It may be DML statements, means delete, insert or update query. Whenever you fire DDL statements like create, alter or drop query, or at the time of database operation like log on, log off, startup or shutdown. Triggers can be defined on the table, view, schema or database with which the event is associated. Benefit of triggers. Triggers can be returned for the following purpose: generating some derived column values automatically, enforcing referential integrity, means when we connect more than one table with the relationship parent and child relationship, or we can say parent key and foreign key, right? Primary key and foreign key. Then event logging and storing information on table access, then auditing of your tables, synchronous replication of tables, or preventing invalid transaction, right? In such cases you can use the triggers for entering a proper data in your database or any of the object of your Oracle database, right? Let us see the syntax for how to create a trigger in Oracle. Create or replace trigger name. On the first line you have to specify the name of trigger, and with that you have to specify create or you want to replace an existing trigger, right? That also you have to specify on the first line. Then you have to specify either before, after or instead of. Out of these three words you have to specify only one. Later on we will explain what is this. Then insert, update or delete, whatever query you want to execute, depends on that query, you can specify these words, right? Of column name, on table name, referencing old as O and new as N. If you want to specify an old value, for that you can use O, and if you want to specify a new value, for that you can use N. Then you can specify for each row, right? And when condition. After that, under the declaration section, your declaration statements will go in that part. Then begin begin with the title begin, right? Executable statements you can write in this part. Then exception section, this will store the exception handling related statements under the title. End of the trigger. Here we have used some parameters. Let us see. Create or replace trigger name. This creates or replaces an existing trigger with a trigger name. Now what is before, after or instead of? This specifies when the trigger will be executed. The instead of clause is used for creating trigger on a view, right? Whether you want to execute this trigger before the execution of your query, after the execution of your query, right? That we can specify with the help of before, after or instead of. Especially instead of clause is used with the creating trigger on a view. The next parameter is insert, update or delete. This specify the DML operation which you want to perform through this trigger. Of column name, this specify the name of column that will be updated. On table name, this specify the name of the table associated with this query or with this trigger. Okay. referencing old as O and new as N. This allows you to refer a new and old values for various DML statements such as insert, update and delete, right? For each row, they specify a row level trigger, that is, the trigger will be executed for each row being affected. I repeat, the trigger will be executed for each row being affected. Otherwise, the trigger will execute just once when the SQL statement is executed, which is called a table level trigger. When condition, this provides a condition for rows for which the trigger would fire. This clause is valid only for row level triggers. Okay, now let us begin with a basic example of how to create a trigger and how to execute it. Example number 64. Create a trigger that will display the message trigger fired when we insert a new record in employee table. Here we are going to create one trigger for employee table that will fire before our trigger our query executes, right? So let us begin. Create or replace trigger demo. The name of trigger is trigger demo. Which trigger we want to create? If this trigger is already exist, in that case we want to replace this trigger. That's why we have used create or replace trigger, right? Now we want to execute before insertion of a query or detail of employee in EMP table. So for that we'll use before term. Before insert on EMP. Here we have specified that our DML statement is insert, and on which table you want to apply this trigger. Here the name of table is EMP for each row, right? Begin is specifying the initialization of executable part of this trigger. Here we have to just print the message on the screen, that is trigger fired. So we'll enclose that string in dbms underscore output dot put line method, end of trigger, and slash for executing this trigger. Okay, so select this code or type this code in SQL window, switch to SQL window. Here we got the message trigger created. Okay, so next, how to implement this trigger? For that we need to execute an insert query on EMP table. Which query we have to execute? Insert query, right? Because this trigger is developed for insert query, right? Let us insert one record in our EMP table. Insert into EMP. For the sake of simplicity, here I have taken only three columns of employee, right? Employee number, e-name and salary. Values are 117, name is Krishna, and the salary is 4,000. Copy this line, paste it over here and press enter. Here you can see the message is printed on the screen, trigger fired, right? And one row is created. Before the creation of row, the trigger was fired. Okay, so in this way you can create a trigger for a particular table. Let us take one more example of trigger. Here we want to create a trigger that will insert the name of employee in EMP table in uppercase only. Whatever case you use at the time of insertion query, the trigger will convert that name into its uppercase, right? It will replace a value to its equal uppercase. That we can do with the help of function we have learnt in our previous session somewhere, right? Let us see how we can do it. Again we have to begin with create or replace trigger. So create or replace trigger, name of trigger is trigger demo. Before inserting a row into EMP table, we want to execute this trigger. So here I have written before. My query is insert query. So here before insert, and on which table you want to apply this trigger? On EMP, right? So here we will write before insert on EMP for each row. Begin section, start with the title begin. tbms underscore output dot put line trigger fired. This will be printed on the screen, right? And then what we are going to do is colon new dot ename is equals to upper colon new dot ename. Here we are replacing the value which is entered for ename field, new value of ename field with the uppercase letters, right? So colon new is specifying the new value entered by us. Which value, which column value? The value for the column ename, right, that we want to replace with the upper letters. So colon new dot ename is equals to upper is a function available in PLSQL, right? And inside the bracket, the value which you want to convert in uppercase, here colon new dot ename, whatever value entered by us at the time of insertion query, that we want to convert in uppercase, right? End of trigger. In the similar way, if you want to replace an old value, for that you have to write colon old instead of new keyword. Copy this code, paste it over here, trigger is created, right? Now insert a one row in EMP table. Again, for the sake of simplicity, here I have taken only 3 fields. Okay, here you can see that ename is entered in small letters. That will be converted into its uppercase. Trigger is fired. This name will be insert in uppercase. Let us check it out. Select star from EMP, where EMP number is equals to 7. See, as you can see, the name is entered in capital letter. Okay, we'll try inserting one more record. Nine comma, I'm entering TIA in small letters. Okay, if trigger was not there, then in that case the whatever value you are entering for ename will be inserted as it is. But here trigger is there, trigger is fired before the insertion of row in EMP table, so the name will be converted to uppercase, right, with the help of trigger. Complete this query and execute this one. Trigger is fired. Now you can check with the help of select query, where employee number equals to 9. As you can see, this name is entered in capital letters. Okay, one more example. To start with, we will all be using the EMP table we had used in the previous sessions. The following program creates a row level trigger for the employee table that would fire for insert, update or delete. The operation performed on the EMP table. This trigger will display the salary difference between the old value and new value. Create or replace trigger. The name of trigger is display salary changes. Before update, before doing updation query on EMP table, we want to execute this trigger, right? So I have written before update on EMP. For each row, when new dot employee number is greater than 0, I repeat, new dot employee number is greater than 0, declare salary difference. The data type of this variable is number. Begin section, salary difference equals to new salary minus old salary. Whatever value you enter while entering update query, that will be considered over here, and the old value which is already available in employee table, that you can specify with the parameter old as shown here, colon old dot salary, right? We want to find the difference between that two, new salary and old salary, that we can get with the help of subtraction. New salary minus old salary. The difference of these two will be stored in the variable salary underscore difference, right? Now what we want to print on the screen as an output, first we want to print old salary. So here I have given a title old salary, and pipe sign is used for concatenating a string, right? The old one salary is still available in this variable, that we can print with the help of colon old dot salary. Then next I want to print a new salary. Again, as you know that value is available in new dot salary variable, and after that I want to print the difference between these two, that we can print with the help of the variable which is defined by us. The name of that variable is salary difference. End of begin section and end of this trigger. Let us execute this code. As you can see the message, trigger created. Okay, now let us check whether this trigger executes or not, or we can say whether this trigger is fired or not. When the above code is executed at the SQL prompt, it produces the output trigger created. The following points need to be considered here. Old and new references are not available for table level triggers, rather you can use them for record level triggers. If you want to query the table in the same trigger, then you should use the after keyword, because trigger can query the table or change it again only after the initial changes are applied and the table is back in a consistent state. The above trigger has been written in such a way that it will fire before any delete or insert or update operation on the table, but you can write your trigger on a single or a multiple operation, for example before delete, which will fire whenever a record will be deleted using the delete operation on the table. Let us trigger this trigger, means fire this trigger. For that we have to insert a one record in our table. Okay, insert into, trigger is fired. Which trigger is fired? The previous one, which is created for insert query, uppercase trigger, right? When a record is created in the EMP table, the above created trigger display salary changes will be fired and it will display the message. As we have removed insert from here, so this trigger will fire only at the time of update query. Okay, in other cases this trigger will not fire. Now let us update one of the record available in EMP table. For that we will write update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 500, where employee number equals to 7788. Switch to SQL window. As you can see, the old salary is 3000, which is increased by 500, and the difference is 500, and the new salary is 3500. Enter one more update query, 7900. I'm taking another record, update EMP set salary equals to salary plus 500, where employee number equals to 7900. One row is updated. As you can see, the previous salary is 2450, which is increased by 500. So here the new salary is 2950, and the difference it is showing 500. Okay, let me see if any of other trigger related examples are available with me. We have done this one, right? Trigger will be display the salary difference between the old value. This is also done by us. Write a row trigger to insert the existing value of EMP table into a new table when the table is updated. Let us take one more example, this one. Okay, this is our example number, where we reach, yes, 67. Write a row trigger to insert the existing values of the EMP table into a new table when the table is updated. Create table old salary tab, right? We need one table for that. Where we can enter our old values. Create table old salary tab. The fields are employee number, old salary, new salary, and salary date. Okay, now create one trigger. Here what we have done, create or replace trigger, trigger salary update. After update on EMP, for each row, begin insert into old salary tab, which is recently created by us, right? Values are old employee number. Then next we want to enter a salary, old salary, right? Then next we want to enter a new salary and current date. Trigger is created. Now update. Execute this query. Now check the table old salary tab. Okay, select star from old salary tab. As you can see, the record is inserted in this table, right? Let us update this table also. Okay, check the rows, enter, see, right? And this way you can even store an old record in another table with the help of trigger. Now let us cover a new topic, arrays in PLSQL. The PLSQL programming language provides a data structure called the V-array, which can store a fixed size sequential collection of elements of the same type. A V-array is used to store an ordered collection of data. However, it is often better to think of an array as a collection of variables of the same data type. An array consists of continuous memory location. The lowest address corresponds to the first element and the highest address to the last element, as we do in the other programming languages, right? Same as that one. An array is a part of collection type data and it stands for variable size array. We'll study other collection type in later chapter, PLSQL collections. Here you can see numbers 1, this is our first element, and this one is the last element, number n. Each element in a V array has an index associated with it. It also has a maximum size that can be changed dynamically, as we can do in other programming languages. Now, how to create a V array? A V array type is created with a create type statement. You must specify the maximum size and the type of element stored in the V array. The basic syntax is shown here. Create or replace type. V array type name is V array n of element type. It is better we will clarify with the help of example, right? Before that, let us try to understand the parameters used in this syntax. V array type is a valid attribute name, right? Means variable name. N is the number of elements maximum in the array. N is the number of elements that you want to store in this array, right? That you have to specify over here. Element type is the data type of the elements of the array. For example, if you want to declare an array of varchar 2, then you have to specify the data type over here. If you want to declare an array of type number, then you have to write number over here. Maximum size of an array or a V array can be changed using the alter type statement. Okay, create or replace type name array as V array 3 of varchar 2 of length 10. Here you can see the name of V array is name array. Its data type is varchar 2 and the length is 10, and we want the size of this array, that is 3. Basic syntax of creating V array. Type V array type name is V array n of element type. Okay, here another example is shown. Sorry, not another example, but if you want to create a variable of this type, then how you can do it? Type name array is V array 5 of varchar 2 10. Type grades is V array 5 of integer. Clear? I repeat, આપણે અહીંયા name array create કર્યો છે. એ ટાઈપના જો આપણે વેરિયેબલ ક્રિએટ કરવા હોય તો we can do with the help of this syntax. Okay, let us try to understand with some more example. Example is shown here. let us now work out on a few examples to understand the concept very clearly, right? First example, this query illustrate the use of VArray. Create or replace type VA marks. Here we want to define a variable with name VA marks of number type, okay, and the maximum length is 3. One more variable with name student info that we want to create a table student info. Here we will use this data type, right? R number as a number 2, name varchar2 10, length is 10. These are two normal variables, and marks, the data type of this variable is VA marks. See, VA marks is a type of VArray. Of this type we want to create one variable with name marks. Got it? Marks છે એ વેરિયેબલ છે, પણ કયા ડેટા ટાઈપનો? Not an inbuilt data type. આપણી પાસે જે number, varchar, these all are inbuilt data type, right? But VA marks is a user defined data type જે આપણે અહીંયા ક્રિએટ કરાવી, V marks. તો marks જે છે એ VA marks ટાઈપનો એક array છે. Now how you can insert a value for this variable? So for that we will write insert into student info. Student info નામના ટેબલની અંદર આપણે values insert કરાવીએ છીએ. 1 will go in roll number column, ABC will go in name column, and VA marks, these 3 values will go for the column marks. Got it? 56, 67 and 78. See, આપણે એના માટે આટલી વસ્તુ यूज़ કરી છે. As you can see, મેં select કર્યું છે, આ array ની values છે, right? So let us implement this implement this example. Create or replace type VA marks as VArray of length 3, and the data type is number. You can see the message type created. Okay, now switch to our document. Here we are going to create a table which has one variable of type VArray, right? Create table student info. It has 3 variables, 3 columns: R number, name and marks. R number and name, both columns having an inbuilt data type, number and varchar2 respectively. But observe the third column, marks, whose data type is of VArray type, right? Which we had recently created, VA1_marks. Press enter. Oh, the name is already exist, right? Let us drop that to table first, or let us change the name of this table. Student info 5 I'm taking, and student info 5. Table created. DESC student info 5. This is the structure. See, here you can observe the data type of this column. Okay, now let us insert a record in this table. Insert into query, we will take insert into student_info 5. Values are 1, ABC. These 2 values, first 2 values will go in roll number and name respectively, and in the third column, VA1 marks, we have to specify 3 values, right? Because the size of this array is 3. Okay, press enter. Now select star from student info 5. As you can see, the marks came in this format, right? Different than normal way. Let me insert one more record. 2. The name is Sia, and values for marks are 69, 97 and 48. Okay, one more row is created. Now execute the same query, select star. As you can see the output on the screen, right? So this is the way you can define a V array. Okay, one more example is shown here. This query will illustrate the use of V array. Create or replace type VA marks as VArray3 of number. Create or replace type VAFNM as array, VArray2 of varchar2. Okay, see here we have done in the first example. This is our next example. Create or replace type VAFNM as VArray2. Here we want to enter a varchar value. ઓકે, તો એના માટે શું કર્યું છે, એની ડેટા ટાઈપ છે આપણે varchar2 લીધી છે. નાઉ ક્રિએટ ટેબલ સ્ટુડન્ટ ઇન્ફો 1, રોલ નંબર, નેમ, marks VA marks, FNM and VAFNM, first name, and we have data type of this variable is VAFNM, right? So you can do this like this. Insert into student info 1 values 1 ABC VA marks. તો VA marks ની અંદર આપણે 3 values enter કરવાની છે, અને FNM એની અંદર આપણે varchar2 લીધી છે, રાઈટ? તો ત્યાં આપણે એની સાઇઝ કેટલી સ્પેસિફાઈ કરી છે, the size is 2. So we have to enter 2 different values for F name column. Got it? Let us execute this example. Here I am changing the name of table. Let me execute this line first. Slash type is created. Now execute this one. Okay, table is also created, and insert one record in this table. Missing comma somewhere, yes. Where is it? Where it is showing? Insert into student 1 comma ABC VA marks 78 comma VAFNM, and we have to enclose this string value. Okay, we have to complete a 2 bracket instead of 1. Fine. Now do the insert query. One row is created. Select star from student info 6. Select all the records from the same table using select query. Got it? You can see the output. We have entered 3 values for marks column and 2 values for name column. So here we have covered both type of VArray, numeric type as well as character type. One more example is shown over here for your reference, right? The following program illustrates the use of VArray in PL/SQL block. You just see this example and note down in your notebook, your journal. Let me give a proper example number. Here 67 is used, and after that we did two more examples. '68 and '69. Example number 70. Okay. Here we have used the V array in our PLSQL block. Yes, one thing that you have to keep in your mind is the index for V array in Oracle start with 1, and V array are one dimensional array. V array is automatically null when it is declared and must be initialized before its elements can be referenced. Fine. Now nested tables. Nested table is like a one dimensional array with an arbitrary number of elements. However, a nested table differs from an array in the following aspect. An array has a declared number of elements, but a nested table does not. As I told you that it is an arbitrary number of elements, right? The size of the nested table can increase dynamically. A nested table can be stored in a database column. It can further be used for simplifying SQL operation, where you join a single column table with a larger table. Okay, an associative array cannot be stored in the database. Here one example is given, 71, example number 71. This query illustrates the use of nested table. Create or replace type anti marks is table. See, instead of V array you have to specify the keyword table, and then at last you have to specify the data type, table of number. Create table student info 2, our number, name, and marks anti marks. It is very similar to the V array, right? Just you have to replace this word, this keyword V array with table, and here no need to specify the length of this array. Okay. Now here at the time of creation of table you have to specify that nested table marks store as marks tab. Okay. અહીંયા તમારે આ કોલમનું નેમ સ્પેસિફાઈ કરવાનું છે, નેસ્ટેડ ટેબલ માર્ક્સ સ્ટોર એઝ માર્ક ટેબ. એટલે કે આ જે છે, આ જે ફિલ્ડ છે, that will be stored as a separate table in your database. માર્ક્સ નામનું એક ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલ ટેબલ બનશે instead of a single column in the same table. સ્ટુડન્ટ ઇન્ફો 2 ની અંદર આપણે 3 કોલમ જોઈ રહ્યા છીએ, આર નંબર, નેમ એન્ડ માર્ક્સ, રાઈટ? બટ અહીંયા આર નંબર અને નેમ એ બે કોલમ છે, જ્યારે કે માર્ક્સ છે that will be treated as a separate table in the student info 2 table, right? આ ટેબલની અંદર બીજું એક સબ ટેબલ બનશે જેને આપણે આઈડેન્ટિફાઈ કરશું ક્યાં નેમથી. this would be the separate table and which will be stored as marks tab. એનું નામ હશે માર્ક્સ ટેબ. માર્ક્સ ફિલ્ડ છે એને આપણે માર્ક્સ ટેબથી સ્ટોર કરીએ છીએ. let us create this one, anti marks. let us see whether it is already created or not. Okay, this is already exist, so we have to change the name of net anti marks table. Here I am giving number 6, marks 6. Info 2, replace the number of this table also, 6. Here also we'll change the number 6 and 6. So the name of type is anti mark 6. Copy this line, paste it over here, slash for executing this query, right? Now create a table with name, student info, name is already exist. Let us replace the name of this table. Here I am taking 16. You can drop the table if it already exists, right? Not an issue. Oh my god, this is also exist. I think this is asking about store as marks tab 6. Let me change the name of this table. Oh, let me resolve the issue. Yes, here you can see table is created with name student info 16, okay, which has one sub table which is stored with name marks tab 6. Let us fetch the detail. Before fetching the detail, let us insert one record. Inconsistent data type expected. As you can see, one row is created, right? Now let us select all the records from student info 16. See, look wise this will not make any difference. It is showing in the same format as we have got in V array type, right? In the same way here also we got an output, so no difference, but internally it stores these values in a separate table with name marks underscore tab 6, okay. Now on the screen you can see example number 72. The use of nested table in PLSQL block. Declare type name table is table or varchar 210. Type grades is table of integer. Names, the data type of this variable is names table. Marks is defined as its data type is grades, and total is declared as integer. As you can see in the names we can store this much values, right? It is a table, so as I told you that we can increase the size or we can decrease the size as per our need. Here I want to store 1 2 3 4 5 names at a time. Even you can store 6 names, 7th name, 8th name, right, as per your requirement. Similarly for grades, okay. So fine, with the help of for loop this will print a name and marks of that particular person. When we will execute the above code, this will produce the following output. As you can see on the screen, student name is this, marks is this, student name is this, marks is this. Here our concept of advanced PLSQL is over, right? In the next session we will cover some remaining theoretical concept which is covered under the unit number 5, okay. All the programs of PLSQL and Oracle are over here. Only the theoretical parts left behind. So complete your journals. Practical exams are very near, right? All the best and thank you.